Hi, my name is Sanjay. I'm one of the co-founders of Lacework. So Lacework actually was incubated by Sutter Hill Ventures. So we are around 2.5 years old company. We launched just last week. So this has just been 10 days since we've been out of stealth mode. We are focused on building a breach detection system for cloud workloads. So as you see, there's a big migration towards public cloud, hybrid cloud. And the challenge actually is most of the security tools actually were built either for network or endpoint. And that both actually have changed in a cloud environment. In a cloud, network has no definition. IP addresses, port numbers don't mean anything. Endpoints have no meaning. You have got started with a physical machine, virtual machine, containers. You don't know what it is. So we're trying to figure out how to really solve the problem in the cloud. And then the second thing actually we have figured out in the cloud actually, people move to the cloud for one reason, and which was velocity. People want to do things faster, whether it is kind of being able to burst out, get more capacity, being able to move from private cloud to public cloud, just being able to do things really faster, like location independence. There are a lot of things actually cloud gives you, but the biggest thing it gives you is velocity. And security actually is completely opposite of velocity. So if you have ever observed, it's more like an oil and water. They never mix together actually. So security puts all kind of hurdles in your way. Whether you want to kind of install a new application, getting approval from the security folks. You want to have a breach, you want to investigate, it will take months for doing that. You want to kind of really figure out what really is to investigate something, whether you have all the data, you don't have any data. So every application needs to provide every data possible. So if you think about it, actually, security almost has become a hindrance to the velocity in a cloud environment, actually. And deployment cycles actually are really, really long for security. It's like completely counterintuitive to the way cloud works. So if you ever actually looked at the cloud, the way it works is that you install an application and you get thousands of alerts. And you basically go and tune your security product, spend days or hours working on tuning it, and then you probably will get few alerts because your product is not tuned to your environment. Then immediately you go and install some new application, new user or a new machine. Suddenly your alert volume actually goes up a lot. And this cycle actually repeats again and again. And this actually worked really well. I used to work in Cisco and Juniper, it used to take us 2 years to develop a software. So by the time we started working on something, by the time we finished something, it was a 2-year cycle. Nowadays, Vikram, who's my co-founder, is here. If it takes more than a week or 10 days, I get like worried, like what's really happening? And the cycles actually become really fast. And this cycle actually worked really well in where you had more of a waterfall. When you have agile or a cloud environment, you cannot be in this mode where anytime a new application shows up, a new machine shows up, a new user shows up, you have to go and reconfigure your security, or you need to figure out how to really do the security policies for the new application or new user. So we need to get security also to a place where it's all automated. So what we do, we are basically zero-touch cloud workload security platform. So we wanted to build something which requires no rules, no policy, and no logs. So the whole concept actually is you install us, we'll learn what really is happening, and then we'll tell you when there's a breach, and then we'll automatically investigate these breaches and provide all the information. It's easier said than done. Vikram will provide you more information on it, but I'll say that doing this, actually being in product management, the easy job always was to leave the decision to the customer. So whenever engineering came to you and asked you for a question saying what you should do, you give a choice to the customer and saying you can give a knob for customer to decide. Doing this is not an easy task, and I'll let Vikram describe how we're doing this.
Hey, I'm a co-founder and CTO at Lacework. So when we started looking at this problem, we found that a lot of people have data, like they have logs and they have logs from many different places, but a lot of the stuff that you really want is not in the logs. And then what you really want to be able to do, and if you want to do zero touch, is to be able to look at the data center, which has thousands of VMs running and which has connections happening all the time, processes getting started and dying all the time, being able to kind of figure out the behavior of logical entities in the data center automatically. So what we do is that we have a daemon-based approach where we run an agent in the VM that we are monitoring. And for everything that's happening in the VM, like every packet that goes in and out of the VM, we figure out the logical entity, the user, the binary, the application that's responsible for it. And given that, we start understanding what the behavior for every one of them is. Now, these applications and processes are ephemeral, they come and go. So what we do is that as data comes into our backend, we cluster every one of them, every application that we see based on the behavior, and then be able to understand what the customer's workloads are. So that's how we get zero touch. Like, you don't have to tell us what two things are the same. If they are behaving the same way, we automatically figure that out, that they are same. And over time, we learn how they behave as a cluster. And so communication is one kind of behavior, but we look at many different behaviors parameters in some terms of who launches what the user is doing, what applications they talk to, which machines they log into. And we look at all of these and we call them like polygraphs, which are different behavior summaries. And every one of them, we compute a new one every hour and compare with the baseline to produce events and alerts which we score. So fundamentally, that's how we are able to, so this is an example of one of the polygraphs for our customer, like a big one which has like around 500 to 600 VMs running, and 20% of them die every day. And this is every workload they do and exactly what the workload behaves like. And that's pretty much is the basis for how we figure out things at scale, at zero touch. Okay, I'll give it back to Sanjay.
So the use cases actually we worked on, first one actually was breach detection to kind of really understand what if a breach happens. And once you have a breach, then really we kind of will help you investigate actually. So we'll really build playbooks to really help you investigate any incidents with zero touch. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks guys.